Henrietta Lacks, a name lost to many, holds a place of immense importance in the annals of medical history. Her story is one of quiet resilience and unrecognized contribution, a narrative that has only recently begun to receive the attention it deserves. Born in 1920, this African-American woman from Virginia would unknowingly change the course of scientific research forever. Growing up in a time of racial segregation and limited opportunities, Henrietta's life was marked by the struggles and triumphs of her community. Her story, however, is not one of fame or recognition during her lifetime. Henrietta lived a life much like many others of her time, filled with the daily challenges of raising a family and making ends meet. She worked hard, loved deeply, and faced the same societal barriers that many African Americans did during that era. Instead, it is a tale intertwined with medical marvels, ethical complexities, and the enduring power of human cells. Her cells, taken without her consent during a medical procedure, would go on to revolutionize the field of medicine in ways that were unimaginable at the time. Henrietta's legacy lies in her cells, taken without her knowledge, which became the first immortal human cell line, HeLa cells. These cells, named after the first two letters of her first and last names, have the unique ability to divide indefinitely in a laboratory setting, providing an endless supply of biological material for research. These cells, capable of endlessly replicating outside the body, became a cornerstone of modern medicine. They have been used in a myriad of scientific studies, leading to groundbreaking discoveries and advancements that have saved countless lives. They fueled countless scientific breakthroughs, from developing the polio vaccine to understanding cancer and HIV. The HeLa cells have been instrumental in research that has led to the development of vaccines, cancer treatments, and a deeper understanding of human biology. Yet for decades, Henrietta Lacks remained a mere footnote in the story of her own cells, her identity obscured, and her family left in the dark. It wasn't until much later that her contributions were acknowledged, and her family began to understand the profound impact of her cells on science and medicine. Today, Henrietta Lacks is celebrated not only for her cells, but also for the ethical discussions her story has sparked, highlighting the need for consent and recognition in medical research. Henrietta Lacks was born into a world of segregation and hardship in the American South. The early 20th century was a time when racial divides were stark and opportunities for African Americans were severely limited. The South was a place where the color of your skin dictated the quality of your life, and for many, it was a daily struggle to survive. Growing up in rural Virginia, she faced the harsh realities of poverty and limited opportunities that were the hallmarks of the Jim Crow era. The land was often unforgiving, and the economic conditions made it difficult for families to thrive. Despite these challenges, the community found ways to support one another, creating a network of resilience and solidarity. Life revolved around family, faith, and tobacco farming. Tobacco was the lifeblood of the region, and entire families, including children, would work the fields from dawn till dusk. These farms were not just places of labor, but also of bonding and shared experiences. Family gatherings were a time to come together, share stories, and find solace in each other's company. Education was a luxury, and healthcare, especially for Black Americans, was often inadequate and discriminatory. Schools for Black children were underfunded and overcrowded, and the quality of education was far below that of their white counterparts. Healthcare facilities were segregated, and Black patients often received substandard care if they received any at all. Married young and a mother of 5, Henrietta was a devoted parent who worked tirelessly to provide for her family. Her days were filled with the demands of raising children, managing a household, and contributing to the family's income. Despite the constant challenges, she remained steadfast in her commitment to her family's well-being. Her life, though filled with challenges, was grounded in the love and support of her close-knit community. Neighbors looked out for one another, and there was a strong sense of collective responsibility. Community gatherings were a source of joy and a reminder that, despite the hardships, there was always something to celebrate. Little did she know that her journey would intersect with the world of medicine in a way that would have profound and lasting consequences. Her cells, taken without her knowledge, would go on to become one of the most important tools in medical research, leading to countless breakthroughs and saving countless lives. Henrietta Lacks' humble beginnings were just the start of a legacy that would change the world. "I'm feeling unwell, doctor. I've been having some unusual vaginal bleeding. It started a few weeks ago and it hasn't stopped. I'm really worried because it's not like anything I've experienced before." "We'll need to run some tests, Mrs. Lacks. It could be serious. We'll start with a pelvic exam and then proceed with a biopsy to understand what's causing the bleeding. Please try to stay calm. We will do everything we can to find out what's going on." In 1951, Henrietta, feeling unwell, sought treatment at Johns Hopkins Hospital, the only hospital in the area that treated black patients. This institution was a beacon of hope for many African Americans who were often denied medical care elsewhere due to the pervasive racial segregation and discrimination of the time. She complained of vaginal bleeding, a symptom that would soon lead to a devastating diagnosis: cervical cancer. The news was a heavy blow for Henrietta and her family, as cancer treatments in the 1950s were still in their early stages and often came with severe side effects. What followed was a series of treatments, including radium therapy, a common practice at the time. Radium therapy involved placing radium, a radioactive element, close to the tumor to kill cancer cells. This treatment was painful and had many risks, but it was one of the few options available. During her treatment, without her knowledge or consent, a sample of Henrietta's tumor was taken for research. This was a common practice at the time, as patient consent was not always considered necessary for medical research. The sample was sent to Dr. George Gay's laboratory, where it would become the foundation of a groundbreaking discovery. This seemingly routine procedure would have extraordinary implications. The cells taken from Henrietta's tumor were unlike any that had been seen before. They had the unique ability to survive and multiply outside the human body, something that scientists had been striving to achieve for years. Dr. George Gay, a researcher at Johns Hopkins, had been searching for cells that could survive outside the body to study human diseases. He had tried many times before, but all previous attempts had failed. The cells would die after a few days, making it impossible to conduct long-term studies. Henrietta's cells, unlike any he had encountered before, possessed an extraordinary ability to multiply and thrive in the lab. These cells, later known as HeLa cells, became the first immortal human cell line. They provided an invaluable resource for medical research, leading to numerous scientific breakthroughs, including the development of the polio vaccine, cancer research, and advances in gene mapping. Henrietta Lacks' unwitting contribution to science has had a lasting impact, saving countless lives and advancing our understanding of human biology.